So let's begin with the feet hip width apart, hands on the low belly, slight bend in the knees. Whichever hand you want on top, whichever one's more comfortable is fine. And we're just going to start to deepen the breath. So try to feel that breath initially expanding beneath your hands. And if you don't feel that right away, it's okay, it'll come with practice. It's how we were naturally born breathing. And sometimes it takes a little time for us to return to that. After you feel the breath expanding into the hands, see if you can feel it spreading into the lower back as well. This is a bit more subtle, but with practice it will come. Make sure you're sinking your weight into the ground and your weight's evenly distributed between the left and right foot, and also evenly distributed between the ball of the foot and the heel. Just sending your weight into the floor. Continuing to feel that breath. We also want to look for the alignment of the shoulders over the hips. And let your body soften as you exhale. You're maintaining the pose, but on the interior, you're trying to soften the body, particularly with your exhalations. Okay, for piece one, we're still going to stay in our hip width apart stance. Interlacing the fingers, bringing the hands up the center line of the body, and then pressing those palms up overhead. As we do so, lifting the heels. As the heels lower down, gently tipping to the left and then to the right. Then releasing the hands, bending the knees, sinking your weight down a little bit, and then let's repeat that. We're going for 12 times. Now remember, in this particular type of Qigong, less is more. The less effort you use, the more beneficial it will be. The more relaxed you are, the more that life force, that Qi will flow. So the benefits of this piece of Qigong here is that we're starting to free up the triple burner, which in Chinese medicine is 3 little energy centers that regulate our digestion and elimination. So we're starting to move energy through those centers. So after your 12th repetition, we're going to stand and just hold this posture with the hands in front of the low belly. So basically the center of your palms are in line with a spot approximately 2 to 3 inches below your belly button. This is the lower dantian, or our reservoir of physical energy. A about 5 breaths or so here. Okay, so for piece 2, we're going to open the stance a little bit wider than the hips, toes pointing straight ahead. Start with the left arm. We're going to cross the left wrist behind the right, and very slowly we're going to extend the left arm out to the side with the index finger and middle finger extended, the other fingers curled in as you draw back the right hand like you're drawing the string of a bow. And then as you come back in, we're going to cross the wrists, slightly rounding the upper back, concaving into the chest just a little bit, and then extending to the other side. And we want to use a feather's weight of resistance through the arms. Just a tiny little bit, just the idea of resistance. We're going for 12 times. So one of the main benefits of this piece is that we're activating the lung channels through the arms, extending energy through the lungs and the lung channels. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are responsible for our immune system. So you could say we're strengthening the immune system with this piece. And after 12 repetitions, we're going to hold the ball, the imaginary ball, this time hands about chest height. We want the wrists about shoulders width apart and the elbows drop down just a little bit below the wrists so that the shoulders stay nice and relaxed. About 5 breaths. For piece 3, we're going to move back to shoulders width apart, left wrist behind the right. Extend the left arm up, wrist flex pushing up through the palm and back and down a little bit through the right palm, and just looking down into the right just a little bit. Then bend the knees, contract back in, and then the right arm extends up as the left goes back and down. 12 repetitions. Again, don't use any real force, just a touch of resistance. The main benefit here is on the left side, we're creating space, moving energy through the stomach, spleen, pancreas region, and on the right side, the liver and the gallbladder. And when you finish, again, hands in front of the low belly, about 5 breaths, a little bit of space between the fingers. For piece 4, we're going to stay in our hip width stance, and we're going to basically turn the head side to side. 3 different variations of this. So let's start with the hands by the sides. We're going to turn the head to the left, bring it center, and turn it right. All right, it seems very simple at first, but the main focus here, and this is a little bit subtle and takes a little time to develop the feeling or awareness of this, but what we want to try and do is, as the head's coming to center, we want to put our focus on the low belly, on that lower dantian, And as the head turns, putting our focus down into the soles of our feet. So 12 times with the arms to the sides. And as you're turning the head, your gaze ideally should go to the very corners of the eyes. You don't want to look so far to the side that you strain your eyes, but look as far to the side as you can as you turn the head. We carry so much tension in our neck, especially around the atlas, that top cervical vertebrae, which attaches to our skull. And so by doing these head turns, we help free up that tension. So we're going to do another round of 12 turns of the head, but this time with the hands on the low back. Fingers are facing inward towards the spine while the thumbs wrap around front. Draw the elbows inward and press the chest a little bit forward. And again, 12 turns of the head. So as the head comes center, focus is in the low belly. As the head turns, try and shift that focus downward into the soles of your feet. And when I say sole of the feet, I mean that hollow spot just below the ball of the foot. In Chinese medicine, this is kidney 1, or in martial arts, they use this point to draw energy up from the earth for power. And then the third repetition of 12 turns of the head, we're having the hands brought up in front of the chest, palms facing up, fingers an inch or so apart from each other, and slightly rounding the upper back. So again, you're slightly concaving the chest. And again, 12 turns of the head. Forward focuses in the low belly. As the head turns, focuses down into the soles of the feet. And again, as you finish up the head turns, let's bring the hands in front of the low belly. Just hold, breathe, and feel what you feel. Okay, for piece 5, we're going to go back to the wider stance. Ideally toes straight ahead, but if they need to turn out a little bit, that's okay. And we're going to shift our weight to the left, turning that right shoulder down, pausing here about 2 to 3 seconds and focusing on the sole of the foot, and then shifting right, same thing. And continue shifting side to side, 12 repetitions. Not only are we getting a good stretch here for the hips and the upper back, but we're also creating a little bit of a massage on the heart here with the twisting. This piece is said to relieve heart fire, which happens when we kind of get overly emotional or too excited. It kind of creates what's called heart fire, and this posture helps to relieve that, cool us down a little bit, calm us down. With this twisting, you also get the benefit of kind of moving more energy, qi, through the kidneys and adrenal glands as well. And after 12 repetitions, we're going to hold that ball in front of the chest again, about 5 breaths. Just breathe and feel. Okay, for piece 6, we're going to go back to the hip width apart stance. Starting with the palms down in front of your waist, that slight downward pressure. Draw the fingers up the center line of the body and then pressing up overhead. So keep the elbows bent. We're going to pause at the top here about 3 seconds, like you're holding something heavy overhead. And then folding forward, grabbing the toes if you can. If you can't quite reach the toes, you can hold it anywhere on the legs and just stay in that forward bend for about 3 seconds. So as you come up top, and you're pressing the palms up overhead, we want to focus on the low back, approximately between L2, L3, the second and third lumbar spine. This is that same position that's opposite of the lower dantian and the low belly, the energy stored. So this is the same point, but on the back of the body. As we fold forward, we want to try and put the focus down in the soles of the feet again. Remember, you guys, a lot of this stuff is very subtle, and you'll eventually start to feel this really great flow of energy through your body. But at first, you may not feel that right away, and that's okay. It just comes with practice, with patience, and then a big part of that is not pushing too hard, just relaxing, flow, and feel. So this piece continues to focus on the triple burner area, but it's a little more about energizing and charging our digestive system, making it a little more fiery and engaged. But on the other end, we're trying to ground that fiery energy. If you kind of stay in that fiery energy place, it can make one anxious, too warm, kind of flighty, scattered in your mind. So that forward fold and putting the focus in the soles of the feet helps to ground it downward. On this one, we're only doing 8 repetitions. After the 8th forward bend, we're going to go back to the hands at the level of the waist, that slight downward press, about 5 breaths. And for piece 7, we're going to go back to the wide stance, and we're going to create a little punching motion. So hands start at the hips, palms up, and then just a fierce gaze looking forward. We're going to send that left arm forward, slow motion and a punching motion. Again, a touch of resistance behind the fist there. As you draw the left back in, the right one shoots forward. This time we're going to go 16 repetitions. Again, relaxed with that touch of resistance. What this piece does is it raises one's vitality, one's vital energy. And as you finish, again, we're going to hold with the hands in front of the chest. Elbows slightly lower than the wrist to keep the shoulders relaxed. A few more breaths. Okay, last piece, we're going to go back to hip width apart. These are just simple heel lifts. So we're going to lift the heels up as high as you can comfortably. Pause at the top 2 to 3 seconds and come on down. So we're going to do 12 times with the arms at the sides. Remember, just pause at the top. This is going to create really good balance, but also it helps, again, ground that fiery energy, that vitality that we raised in the last piece. We're grounding it back down through the feet with these heel lifts. And we're also stimulating all the meridians in the feet. There's a lot of fine meridians that run through the feet, the toes, between the metatarsals and all that good stuff. So we're going to do a second round of 12, hands on the low back, just like we did in the neck turning piece. Let the chest kind of poof open a little bit, draw the elbows inward. Heels lifting, pausing at the top 2 to 3 seconds. Lower down with control. And then the last set of 12, going back up, hands in front of the chest, palms up, a little bit of space between your fingertips, and that rounded upper back. Slight concaving of the chest. 12 times. And to finish up, let's put the hands back on the low belly and just take a few more breaths, just breathing